Hi, Kristiann. But you're going to the office.
I don't know. Am I in it?
Well, I didn't put the camera on. So.
Oh, okay, all right.
So Lynn and I are here. I can't hear you. There we go.
You want me to do the rest? Okay, I'll just say you have something. Here. Where's the mute?
I already unmuted it.
Okay. Oh, right. Okay. Oh, I see it.
Show mute you when it's time.
Yeah.
Hi, everybody. Hi.
Need any help?
No.
So tonight, if you have it, we're going to use a couple of blocks or, you know, big cans or wine boxes, a blanket or a towel. And if you happen to have access to one of these bolsters or something similarly shaped, a bolster nearby would be handy. It's not a total requirement. So grab a bolster if you got one. Now let's see. Let's sit this way. We got a couple more minutes till we got to begin, so I just want to make sure I can be seen. Yeah. So far, so good. All right, so tonight we're going to use a couple of blocks or little boxes or big cans, something that you might have around. And either a towel or a firm blanket. And if you happen to have one around, a bolster. If you don't have one around, well, we'll be able to make do. We'll have some other options available. So no requirement, but it is nice to have it about. Meanwhile, let's get into our comfortably seated position. I'm going to set my props aside. And I like to use a blanket behind my hips just to help me achieve a nice position of my pelvis, so I'm not slouching back too much, but I can grow my spine up tall from there, broaden the front of the shoulders, have them relax down. We'll take a breath in and let it go. And let's do that 2 more times, maybe even sighing on the exhalation. One more nice, full, releasing exhalation. And then we'll raise our gaze and raise our hands up in front to interlace fingers, turn our palms forward and expand the hands away from the heart center. We'll draw our thumbs down to the ground and our pinkies lightly back toward our nose. We'll take a breath. We'll let it out, feeling the air on the back of our hands. Maybe directing it with our lips like you're blowing out a birthday candle. Then we'll soften our elbows. Our next breath in, we'll lift our elbows up into the air, reaching the hips down, the elbows high, opening the armpits, adding as much bend as you need to your elbows to bring more comfort to your wrists or shoulders. I'll have a breath or two here. Feel free to sigh or blow the air out with pursed lips. And then we'll draw little circles in the air with our hands. So moving our arms and even our ribs, feeling a bit of the motion. Drawing little circles in the air with our palms. And then we'll circle the other direction. We'll come back to center. We'll release our hands. Let's open them out to a wide T shape, then roll our palms up to face our ceilings and have a few breaths here. Expanding from the center of the chest out to the pinkies, from the center of the back out to the thumbs. We'll have one more broad body breath. We'll exhale our fingers down. Let's shrug our shoulders up to the ears, roll them back and have them float down 2 more times. Alrighty, we'll bring our right hand out in front, palm faces up toward the sky. We're gonna do a beltless cow face. So we'll breathe in, we'll lift that right palm up to give ourselves a pat at the nape of the neck. Or if that's not comfortable for your shoulder, maybe you did a lot of gardening or canoeing this weekend, maybe bring the hand out to the shoulder itself or even down to the heart like you're saying the Pledge of Allegiance. We'll have a breath or two here, then we'll bring our left hand either to the waist or slide it behind the waist. And maybe point those fingers up toward the other hand. Now we'll draw our elbows in alignment with our spine, broaden the front of the shoulders. And have a few cow face breaths here. Just notice the difference between that right shoulder and left shoulder. And if you notice any difference between even the front of the ribs here. We'll have another breath in. And we'll exhale, we'll release our arms. Woo, we'll do the same thing on the other side. So left palm can come out. We'll reach it up high, give ourselves a pat at the nape of the neck. Ooh, you can feel that lengthening through the tricep as we reach that elbow up toward the air. The other hand comes to or behind the waist. And maybe we even draw those fingers up to point toward the other hand. Cow face pose here. We have a breath in, we have a breath out. You notice the difference between the left side and the right side. We even look for differences here in the front of the body, at the ribs. Maybe they're flaring up and out a little more on one side than the other. We'll take one more cow face breath here, an utterly deep breath. Then we'll relax and release, and stretch it out wide. Let's bring our right hand down to the ground. We'll turn our left palm up toward the sky. We'll inhale it up and turn the gaze. Turn the gaze up. And we'll exhale, turn the palm, turn the gaze down, and stretch that arm out, maybe even pointing the fingers down toward the ground, but not quite reaching to the ground. So we breathe in, we lift our palm up, our arm up, our gaze up. Then we turn our palm out to the side, turn the gaze down, lower the arm down. We'll do that 3 more times. Inhaling as we lift up, Turning our gaze toward our arm. Exhaling as we turn down. And then check in with the right shoulder. Make sure it's not all lifted up by the ear, but relax down and away. And then one more time, we'll lift that left arm up, turn the gaze up, and we'll pause here for a few breaths. Lengthening from that left hip through the left waist, all the way to the left armpit. If your shoulder's not liking this, feel free to bend the elbow deeply and see if that brings more happiness to your shoulder joint. One more breath in. We'll exhale, turn that palm to the side, lower that arm down, sit up tall. Whew. Now let's see if we notice a difference between our left shoulder and right shoulder. Now the left hand comes down out to the side. We reach up with the right palm up, lifting that arm up, lifting the gaze up. And then we exhale, turning that palm down, turning the arm down, turning the gaze down. So breathing in, lifting up. Breathing out as we lower down. Fingers not quite reaching the ground. Stretching away, lengthening. One more time, we'll breathe in, up high. We'll breathe out, down and away. Then we'll lift our arm up, we'll lift our gaze, we'll pause here for a few breaths. We'll really lengthen through that side of the waist, the ribs, the armpit. Check in with the shoulder joint. If it's not too happy, consider bending that elbow deeply, bringing it out in front. See if that brings more happiness to your shoulder joint. We'll have another breath in. And we'll lower it all down and sit up nice and tall. Whew. Then we'll check in, see if we notice a difference between one shoulder and the next. Oh, I like it. All right, let's bring our feet out in front of us, planting them nice and wide on the ground or on the mat in front of you. We'll do our seated version of cat-cow, and then from here we'll move to a one-legged archer. So taking a breath in, as we exhale, we'll roll toward the back of the pelvis. We round the back, we hunch the shoulders forward, droop the chin. Then with the next breath, we'll do the opposite, tilting the pelvis forward, lifting the heart, lifting the chin, arcing forward. So we'll hunch back, we'll arc forward. We'll find our wave of motion for the entire length of the spine, from the sacrum to the head. Following our breathing pace. Alrighty, we'll do one more pair of these. Inhaling up to the proud cow. And exhaling our way back to the slouchy cat. We'll come back to center. Let's walk our right foot to center. In fact, let's tuck our right foot down so its side of the shin is on the ground. We'll keep the left foot out. We'll bring our left hand to the inside of that left arm, the back of the hands toward the shin or the ankle. We'll bring the right palm to it. We breathe in and we pull back on an imaginary archer's bow, lifting that elbow diagonally away from that opposite hand. Then we'll bring our hands together. So breathing in, we're pulling back, turning the heart center, and returning those palms together. Feel that shoulder blade behind us, tucking in toward the spine. Each time we pull all the way back on our archer's bow. One more time. Alrighty, we'll release our hands, put down our weapons, our bows. Oh, thank you. And we'll bring our right foot into position, trade the left foot out, bending it down, bringing the calf or side of the calf down to the ground. Right foot a bit off to the side. We'll bring our right hand, the inside of that right shin or ankle. We'll bring our palms together, keeping the right hand where it's at. Let's pull back on the left. We'll do it a couple more times, breathing that elbow back, feel the action of the shoulder blade, and then return those palms to the starting position. Alrighty. Hands coming together, we'll release that. And we'll keep both feet out one more time. This time we'll bring our feet in towards center a bit more. If you're still seated on a blanket, that's fine, or you can come down off in front, whatever works for you. But we're going to move from here toward a bridge. So let's lift, not bridge, a boat. My bad. Navasana. Lift the heart center away from the belly. So we have a nice tall torso, front and back. We'll hang on to our own legs and then lean back a bit. And we'll see what we can do to choose to lift a leg and lower. Maybe lift another, shin parallel or even with the ceiling, and lower. I'll turn to the side so we can see a side view as well. Or maybe we can even try to lift both legs. If you find that when you lift both legs, it makes you want to really hunch the back, see what we can do to keep that heart center lifted away from the belly. Nice long front body. And if you want more of a challenge, try straightening out those front legs. Long legs, long boats, maybe even extending the hands past the legs, floating those arms. We'll have another boat breath here. We'll release it all back down. So far, so good. So, what's the other part of the body I wanted to warm up here before we moved on? We did our shoulders. Oh, a little bit more of the hips. So, leaning back a bit, let's cross an ankle over an opposite knee and allow that bent knee, lifted knee to move away from the shoulder. I'll turn this way. So rather than have it up here by my torso, I'm moving that knee away from my torso. I can get a stretch here, or if I'm not feeling very much, I can try drawing this left foot in a bit, maybe lifting the torso up a bit, just like in boat, lifting the heart center away from the belly. I can draw some circles in the air with my right foot. Whee. And then from here, we're going to move from this threaded needle position toward a sleeping pigeon. So let's hug onto our bent leg. I'll turn to the side once again, and then slowly ease our way back. Now we can extend the other leg onto the floor. And here we are in a sleeping pigeon. Oh, I see my coloring is darkened. So I have my extended left leg out, calf on the mat, and my right leg is the bent pigeon one. I realize I didn't cue you which one to be up. So one leg is bent, the other one's extended out. We're doing our sleeping pigeon. We'll have another pigeon breath here, coo if you wish. And then we'll still hang on to this bent knee, but allow the foot to release back to its natural place. And then we'll draw circles in the air with this bent knee. finding a gentle movement in our hip joint. And then circle the other direction as well. We'll bring our leg back to center, supporting our thigh. Let's extend that heel up toward the sky. No need to get the leg perfectly straight, but we'll still put effort into the heel lifting upward. We'll keep the leg on the ground active as well, the calf, heel, and part of the thigh, upper thigh, also rooting down into the mat. You can draw some circles in the air with our lifted foot. And circle the other direction as well. And then we'll bring it back to center, release that leg down, extend that leg out. We'll do the same thing on the other leg, moving through reverse. So first, we'll support the thigh, extend that heel up toward the sky. No need to get the leg straight, but we'll put a little effort into the heel lifting. We'll keep the leg on the ground active, the heel, the calf, and the upper thigh rooting downward. We'll draw some circles in the air with our lifted foot. And then circle the opposite direction. And we'll bring our foot back to center. We'll bend that knee and draw some circles in the air with the knee. Finding that gentle range of motion in your hip joint on this side. And circling the other direction as well. Now we'll still hang on to this knee, bring it to center, but we'll lift and turn that foot into its pigeon position. So we're drawing the shin perpendicular against the spine, or more toward that. So we'll support our pigeon leg here on this side. We'll take some soft cooing pigeon breaths. Now for a moment, let's release our pigeon leg. We'll rock us up to a seat. Feet in front again. And we'll cross that second leg over the first. Finish where we began. Lifting the heart center away from the belly, crossing our legs, bringing a little attention to our hip. Alrighty, let's release that. We'll uncross that leg and we'll find our way up toward our feet. Standing poses. I'm going to switch the camera. So let's take our two blocks. We'll place them at the top of the mat. I'll have the top of my mat be this direction. So we'll just place them out here where we may need them. I'm going to trade it up. I'm switching mine. My top of the mat's going to be this way. It doesn't matter. All right, so we're standing here in Tadasana. You can face toward the top of the mat. We'll plant our feet with a bit of space between them, just like our usual Tadasana. We'll energize our arches, lifting our arches. We'll feel our upper thigh bones shift toward each other to stabilize our hips. We'll lift the heart center away from the belly. We'll broaden and relax the shoulders. We'll lengthen the back of the neck by tucking in the jaw just a little. And we'll lift the crown all the way up toward the air. Inhale, circle our palms up overhead, bring our palms together. Exhale them down at the heart center. We'll have 2 more breaths here. As we breathe, inhaling, see if you can feel energy lifting. As you exhale, see if you can feel energy grounding or rooting down. Inhaling, we lift. Exhaling, we ground. Now we'll lift our hands up into the air. Keep the palms together if that's comfortable for you. Lift them only as high as your shoulders appreciate. Root through the feet. Lift and activate those arches. Stabilize the upper thigh bones. And maybe lift the heart center a little more strongly away from the belly. We'll have another breath here. And then we'll exhale, bring our hands back down to the heart center and take a few more breaths. Again, noticing if you can feel an uplifting sensation when you inhale, and a grounding sensation as you exhale. All right, one more breath in. As we exhale, we'll shift toward Utkatasana, bending the knees, shifting the hips toward the wall behind us, keeping our zigzag pose and lowering the gaze down toward the floor, just a few feet in front of you. We'll pause here for a few breaths. See if you can still notice that uplifting feeling as you inhale. Feel the grounding, the lowering, the anchoring sensation as you exhale. We'll take one more uplifting breath in. And exhale, fold forward all the way to Uttanasana. Belly to the thighs, keep a deep bend in the knee if you'd like. Lengthen the back of the neck. Relax the arms at the head and the arms hang if possible. Maybe you want to fold the arms. Take a few breaths. See if you notice a lengthening, an uplifting feeling as you inhale, and an exhale that's grounding and lowering. Maybe even exaggerate with the legs, inhaling to lengthen the legs, exhaling to bend those legs. One more time, we'll breathe in, and we'll breathe out. And we'll root through our feet, and we'll rise up, circling our hands, bring our palms up overhead, reaching up tall, exhaling the hands down to the heart center. Now, let's turn toward the long side of the mat. We'll leave our blocks there at the top of the mat, and we're going to step wide, putting one foot near the blocks or in between the blocks. The other foot takes a nice wide step. We'll find our 5-pointed star, so we can turn our toes out away from each other. We'll reach our fingers far apart. We'll reach the 5th point, the head up into the air. Take a breath in. Exhale, we can bend our knees, bend our elbows. Inhaling, we'll expand. Exhaling to bend. Inhaling to expand. Exhale. And we'll inhale. One more time, we'll exhale down. We'll inhale up and wide. Now let's turn both of our feet, or let's turn our foot by the top of the mat to face the short end of the mat, and we'll also roll the back foot in a bit, preparing for a triangle pose. We'll keep our legs long, we'll turn our gaze over, we'll reach and bring our hand down to our leg or to a block. Either side of the front leg is fine. And we'll expand this upper hand out from the collarbone. Notice it might not be straight up toward the ceiling. It might be more comfortable to have it come out from the collarbone. You can either turn the gaze up, forward, or down, whatever's best for you. If you have high blood pressure, if blood pressure is an issue, maybe keep the gaze forward or even down. Inhaling, see if we can feel a lifting sensation. Exhaling, see if we feel that grounding sensation. One more breath here. And then we'll bring this right hand down as well. Roll the back foot, so a hand to each side of the front foot. We'll roll our back foot so the toes are pointing more comfortably. We'll hang out in a version of Parsvottanasana. Take a few breaths, lengthening the back, lengthening the spine. As you inhale, see if you feel any part of you lifting or becoming lighter. And as you exhale, see if we can feel that grounded sensation of our pose. What parts of us are really rooting, feeling heavy and anchored? Alrighty, now we're going to gently bend our knees and lower this back knee down to the mat. Now, if you're not too happy with that, we can bring a blanket underneath that back knee. Whatever feels good. And it's up to you if you want to tuck your toes behind you or point them, whatever feels best for you. But we'll find our balance here. We'll focus on our drishti, our spot to focus our gaze. We'll reach up, bringing our hands to the front leg. See if we can lift the heart away from the belly. Have 3 breaths here. Notice what part inhales and feels lighter, what part exhales and grounds. Now we'll reach our hands forward, placing them either on the blocks or even reaching a little lower, maybe even all the way to the ground. We'll keep our gaze low so the back of the neck is long, and we'll have 3 breaths here. Hands are firmly rooted wherever they're at. Feeling the ground, feeling that heavy energy. Then we'll root through our feet, find our balance. This time our hands float up in front of us and up into the air. Really lengthening into our crescent here. Lifting through the front body, finding room for the heart center, away from the belly. See if we can feel a lifting as we inhale, and what parts are rooting as we exhale. One more breath here. And we'll bring our hands back down, land them comfortably on the blocks at whatever height you'd like, keeping the gaze low. And then we'll tuck the back foot, lift the back knee, and we'll have 3 breaths here in this high lunge, but keeping the gaze low, the hands grounded. Feeling the mat underneath our feet, feeling the hands in contact with our blocks or our props. And we'll lower that back knee. We'll put our blocks aside, and we're going to tuck our front leg in with the other. So we're on both of our knees now. Hands and knees. We'll breathe through a cat-cow. Two more cat-cow pairs. Reaching the arch back up, feeling the ground underneath your hands and your knees, sagging the belly, lifting the chin, widening the sit bones. All righty. Now we'll have a choice of either going through child's pose or coming to a downward facing dog from here, lifting the knees, reaching the hips away from the hands. Or if you're moving into child's pose, we keep the knees grounded and we'll reach those hips away from the hands. We'll have 3 breaths here. See if you can feel a lifting of energy with the inhalation, the grounding of energy with the exhalation. Now let's step our knees down to the ground, hands to blocks, and now our right foot can step forward. Easy peasy. So first we'll start with our hands on our leg. So we'll lift our gaze off to the horizon somewhere. As we inhale, we'll see what parts feel lift. As we exhale, we'll see what parts feel the grounding. Bring our greater trochanters in toward each other to help stabilize the hips. That's the upper thigh bones moving toward each other. One more breath here. And then we'll lower our hands to blocks or to the ground, keeping our gaze low, the back of the neck long. We'll have some breaths here, feeling the ground underneath us. Letting our heavy energy just melt down into the floor, rooting down. Then we'll root through our front foot. We'll raise our hands up. We'll find our balance. And we'll float our hands forward and up, really lengthening the heart center away from the belly, palms facing toward each other, low crescent. See what part feels a lift, what part feels a grounding. One more breath here. Then we'll bring our hands on down. Keeping the hands solid on the blocks, let's tuck those toes behind us, lift up to high lunge. We'll feel the ground under our feet, the contact of our hands, and we'll take some breaths here. All right, we'll lower our knee to the ground. We'll bring our other knee next to it. And now we will move back toward a child's pose, easing our hips back, lowering the head down. If you'd like to bring the edge of a block for the forehead, just above the eyebrows or just between and above the eyebrows, that's fine. We'll take a few breaths here in our child's pose. Even here in child's pose, even with all this contact on the ground, we can still feel that energy, inhaling and lifting, exhaling to ground. Feeling a lightness, feeling a heaviness. Keep the back of the neck long. Keep the back body broad. All right, we'll draw our hands in underneath us. We'll lift us up. Let's put our block back up toward the top of the mat. We'll walk ourselves out toward a plank position. So hands under the shoulders, we'll extend out our legs. You can choose whether you'd like to keep your knees on the blanket or the mat, or if you'd like to go with a full plank and lift the knees. See if we can feel any lightness as we inhale. We definitely feel the heaviness as we exhale, the contact of our feet and our hands with the ground. All right, we'll draw our knees in underneath us once again. Now let's move the blanket out from under us if you have one there. We'll find our way down onto our bellies for a moment. We can either go from plank, chaturanga, all the way down to belly, or just find your way down to your belly. And we'll bring our forearms to the ground in front of us, finding our Sphinx pose. If that's causing too much strain or pinching on the low back, draw those hands forward, those elbows forward, broadening the front of the belly. And have a few breaths here. See if we can normalize the curve of the spine all the way through to the head. So we're not bending the back of the neck too much, but keeping it gentle all the way up. We'll have another breath here. And we'll fold our arms. We'll make a little pillow with a stack of our hands. We'll pick a cheek to rest on. We'll bend our knees, point the bottoms of the feet up toward the sky, and wave those feet back from side to side. That feels really nice. I hope it feels good for you too. All right, we'll come back to center. We'll release our feet down to the ground. We'll lift our cheek. We'll draw our hands in underneath us. We're going to press up toward hands and knees, or all the way up to downward facing dog, tucking those toes under, pushing the hips away from the hands. Now it's the right foot that will step forward. Bring our hands to our blocks. Let's lengthen this right leg and we'll draw our left heel down. We'll find a block position for a hold of Parsvottanasana, lengthening our spine, finding a good position for the back foot. I had to adjust my blocks a little bit. Now we're going to turn toward a triangle. So let's plant the right hand on either block, either the one on the right side of the right leg or even on the inside of the right leg, mimicking that diagonal triangle we've been practicing lately. We'll bring our left hand up, extend it out from the collarbone. We'll pick a position of our gaze that works for us. We'll see how we feel lifting our energy, lowering, grounding our energy with each breath. Now we'll root into our feet. We'll press up to standing. Ooh, we'll find our 5-pointed star. Once again, turning our toes out. I'm going to turn around. Once again, we'll bend both legs and arms. We'll extend legs and arms. Toes are pointing the direction the thigh bones are pointing as we bend. That keeps our torque on our knee and our hip better. Extending out. We'll pause here in our 5-pointed star. And we'll lower our hands to our hips. We'll step or shimmy or jump our feet together or toward each other, toward Tadasana. A few inches of space. We'll inhale our palms up overhead. We'll exhale them down to the heart center. We'll take some breaths in, some breaths out. Feeling that lift. Feeling that grounding sensation. We'll keep our hands together. We'll reach them up high, rooting through the feet, maybe lifting the heart center away from the belly, a little back bend, some back energy here, maybe even lifting the gaze. One more lifting breath here. Oh, exhale down to the heart center. Breathing in, feel the lifting of the energy. Breathing out, feel that grounding of the energy. One more breath. And then we'll release our hands. Alrighty, shimmy it out a little bit. Maybe shake, just like a seaweed or a seaweed what, at a disco party? I'm not really sure. Okay, let's clear off the blocks from the side of the mat. Oh, good. I still have a half hour. We still have a half hour of play. So we've got time for a restorative, time for our Shavasana. We still have time to do more balance work here. My favorite balance work of late has been the flamingo. So let's practice that. I'll turn diagonally, so hopefully you can catch the scene. But let's root through a foot. I'm going to root through my right foot. That's my flamingo leg. I'll feel that foot making a solid contact. Let's take a breath in. Exhale, really ground through that foot. We'll raise our arms up to T-shaped arms for help with balance. We'll focus our gaze on a drishti, some spot in front of us that's not moving. We'll lift our left heel, lift the left foot, maybe grasp our left foot behind us. See what we can do to keep this left collarbone broad. So we're not drawing that head of the arm bone in so much as keeping it broad and expanded. Now this right arm, if we're like a challenge, we can draw the thumb toward the heart, like half an Anjali mudra. And here we are in our flamingo pose, keeping our knees together or even maybe lifting that bent knee just a little bit toward the back of the body. You'll feel more of a quad stretch that way. All 4 quads stretching that way. Have a flamingo breath. Dream of whatever flamingos dream of. Seas of tasty shrimp. Sunny skies. Pleasant, clean water. We'll have another breath. We'll exhale. Release the arm out to T-shape. Release our foot. Ooh, release back down to the ground. Shake your flamingo legs out. I don't know the noises flamingos make, but make a flamingo noise. And then we'll try it on the other side. So rooting that other foot this time. Raising up the arms to T-shaped arms, focusing the gaze, shifting that other foot off, grasping that ankle or foot, broadening that opposite shoulder so it's not rolling forward, staying broad. And maybe drawing that other thumb into the heart. You can keep this bent knee forward, or for more of a quad stretch, draw it more in line with the other knee, or even just a little behind the other knee. Have another flamingo breath here. Dreaming of lifting into flight. Inhaling that light energy. And we'll exhale, grounding through our flamingo leg and foot. Release our hands, release the leg. Feet back to the ground. Ooh, we'll shake out our flamingo waves. All right, my flamingos. Oh, I like it, it's kind of fun. I'm trying to find ways for us to safely do inversions, even in our classes in our homes. So stay tuned. I'm hoping that maybe in the next coming weeks, we'll be able to find a little space on a wall somewhere where we can set up a little station to try some headless headstands, to try Pincha, Mayurasana, or peacock pose, another bird pose, or some fun like that. Meanwhile, we'll get back to what we're here doing today. Let's stand in Tadasana once again, finding a little space between our feet, energizing those arches, stabilizing the hips and the upper thigh bones, moving in, lifting the heart center, broadening the shoulders, relaxing them down, lengthening the back of the neck, lifting the crown up toward the ceiling. We'll inhale, circle hands up overhead, keeping the palms apart from each other. Oh, you can't quite see that, can you? We'll exhale and we'll lean our hips one way and our arms the other. We'll breathe into center, breathe out to the other side. We'll inhale up, exhale down to the same side, first side. We'll inhale up, we'll exhale, other side. We'll inhale up, we'll exhale our hands down at our side. So that's quarter moon, and I'd like us to try to work on a half moon pose. So we have many choices of how to do half moon and do it gently. They all involve using blocks. So we'll start with a block or two. They can also involve a wall. If you are blessed with this much wall space, then feel free to practice our wall-supported half moon. I think you've probably done it with me before. If we pretend the back of my mat is actually the edge of a wall, we stand with our feet about 5-6 inches away from the wall, nice and wide. We lean our hips up against the wall, and then we can tick-tock into our position from there. If you don't have that much space, much like me here, I might get burned if I lean back too far, then we can bring our foot to a wall. So you might be able to perpendicularly come off of a wall, having a foot in a landing place somewhere. That would be something like this. So the foot on the wall. And we could move into our position from here. Or if you want to freestyle it out in the middle, then we'll put our blocks down at the top of the mat, hands to the blocks, gaze stays low. We'll root our feet underneath the hips. We'll engage our Mula Bandha, the low belly moving in toward the spine, up a little toward the heart. We'll shift our weight over toward our right foot, hover the left, lift that left leg up behind us. We'll plant that right hand, maybe bring the left hand to the hip or the side of the body, and slowly rotate that hip, stacking that left hip up on top of the right. We can keep the gaze low to help with balance, or we can turn the gaze. Woo. Now this hand can stay at the hip, Or if you'd like, you can extend it out from there. See if you feel any lifting energy as the inhale, any grounding energy with the exhale. We'll have one more breath here. Then we'll bring that hand back down. Turn the gaze low. Lower that other leg. Let's deeply bend one knee and then the other. Dance a little Watusi here. And we'll plant our legs, lengthen our spines. We'll plant our blocks under the shoulders. We'll engage our Mula Bandha. We'll float the right leg up. We'll plant the left hand, bring the right hand to the hip or the side. Slowly turn. Woo. Maybe we'll choose to lift that upper arm. We'll have one more half moon breath here. Whew. We'll bring our hands back down. Turn our leg down, lower that leg, deeply bend one knee then the other. We'll feel the contact of the both feet on the mat. Both hands touching our blocks or whatever they're touching. We'll root through our feet. We'll rise up standing, circling our palms overhead. Exhaling down to the heart center. Whew. All right, half moon. So good to see you all there. Okay, so we're going to do a wide-legged forward fold. Let's shift those blocks over toward the center of the long side of the mat. We'll turn sideways, we'll step nice and wide. Now, unlike last time we were wide, this time our toes are gonna point forward or toward the long side of the mat, or even pigeon toe them a little bit, keeping the heels a little wider than the toes. We can place our hands on our big hinge. We'll lift the heart center, take a breath. Exhale, fold the pelvis over those thigh bones. Reach for the blocks or for the ground. Keep our spine long for a few breaths. And then as we ease toward the position, we can consider rolling forward a bit more, maybe moving the blocks aside, letting the back of the neck lengthen, letting the spine round toward the floor as is comfortable and appropriate for you. We'll have another breath or two here. See if you feel that lifting inhalation, the grounding exhalation. Now we'll lengthen our arms. We'll walk our hands over toward the right foot. We'll bend the right knee, lift the right heel, and roll up to the heel on the left foot, which you can't see because it's behind a block. All right, so we're here. It's a nice inner thigh stretch for this extended left leg. Have a few breaths here. See if we can feel anything lifting as you inhale. Anything grounding as you exhale. Then we'll lengthen over to the other side, shifting our hands along, bending that knee, lifting the other foot, rolling that knee and the toes up toward the ceiling. See if you feel any grounding, any lifting as you breathe. All righty, we'll come back to center. Oof. And we're going to bring us on down to a seated position at our mat. All righty, so just taking a comfortable seat any which way. Let's bring our palms behind us. Fingers point away, thumbs are pointing a little more in, so we're outwardly rotating those arm bones. Then we'll lift our heart center. Have a breath or 3 here. Feel those shoulder blades kissing the spine behind you. And then we'll release that. We'll reach our arms forward. Reach those fingers forward, tilt the spine forward. Maybe walk those fingers forward as far as they'd like to go. Take a few breaths here. All righty. We'll reach our way back up to center. I'm going to switch the camera view. Hopefully that works a little better for here. So I have a restorative plan utilizing a bolster if you have it, or if not, I'll have a second plan. So I'd like us to do our reclining Baddha Konasana, or reclining spine in any case, whatever leg position you choose. So let me show you how to set up for that if you happen to have a bolster and some blocks. So one block goes tall, the other block goes a couple inches away, medium height. Let's see. One block tall, one block a couple inches away, medium height. Let's see if I can show it like this. And then we lean our bolster on it. Now, if you have a blanket or towel, we can use that for our leg position. Now, if you don't happen to have a bolster, then what you could do is take your yoga mat and roll it up. I happen to have a spare yoga mat available over here. And we can use a yoga mat instead of a bolster. Now this might not be the most cozy, but if you want to try it on the blocks, we can try it like that. Or you can remove the blocks altogether and have it on the ground. Now for the leg position, we could take our blanket or towel. We want to roll it up to make a really long, what I refer to for some reason as noodles. So we've got this nice long noodle going on here. So we're going to scoot back, sitting on the mat until we touch our bolster or our mat, whatever it is, sitting on the ground. Feet go flat. We place the middle of our noodle on our feet. We tuck the edges up by the hips. Ease our weight back. And we allow the knees to open. The bottoms of the feet come toward each other. Now the rolled up mat, it's not the most comfy, but it's not so bad. A little bit less supportive than a bolster, but it's not so bad. We turn our palms up. You might need an extra folded blanket or towel or sweatshirt nearby underneath your head for support. You find your comfortable spot in your restorative. I will stay here in a seat. So we bring more ease and weight into our position, into our props, into our body. We do a little quick scan, see if there's any place that just feels a little bit uncomfortable. Maybe make some minor adjustments. And with each exhalation, we let our bodies feel a little heavier, a little softer, a little more grounded. You might still feel that uplifting sensation as you inhale. It is a nice grounding sensation as you exhale. noticing what parts of your body are in contact with the mat or the floor underneath you. You feel the weight of your hips anchoring you to the ground, like a nice stable foundation. You feel those long, strong legs of yours, relaxing and releasing, becoming heavier. Feel your feet in contact with the ground. You might even feel that part of your back in contact with your support underneath you. Notice if there's any holding in the muscles of your back, any tension or action there that can be released, that can go offline for these few moments. You soften around the chest and the lower throat, letting the tongue widen. Our throat softens, and we relax our inner ear. We feel the breath enter the body and exit once again. Feel the heavy connection between our head and our support underneath us. We allow all the muscles of our head, of our cheeks, around our ears, all those muscles can soften. You probably do lots and lots during your days. For this moment, what's important to do is to soften and relax and take care of yourself this way. All the day's stress can melt away. All the wonders of the world can be set aside for just a few more breaths. Feeling your body, feeling your breath, bringing a lightening of energy on the inhalation, and a grounding sensation on the exhalation. I'll take another longer than usual breath in. And let that breath all the way back out, not hurrying that exhalation, but allowing it to play out. And you can decide if you're so comfortable this way, you wish to remain in this position for your Shavasana, you may do so. Or if you prefer a different position for your Shavasana, our stillness pose here at the end of our yoga session, then you may find that position now. Bring your awareness back to your room and gently bring some movements to your fingers and toes, your hands and feet. When you're ready, roll to your right side and take some long breaths as you prepare to sit upward. And finally, we'll bring ourselves up to a comfortably seated position and do a little breath work before we continue on with our evening. So find a comfortable position, whatever that means for you. I'm going to suggest alternate nostril breathing called Nadi Shodhana this evening. If for some reason you have some allergies going on, your nose is a little stuffy, your sinuses are a little cranky, then feel free to skip this. Or if you otherwise don't feel comfortable trying, feel free to just follow along and breathe. Both nostrils, maybe not doing the alternate nostril aspect of it, whatever you feel comfortable with. So to do Nadi Shodhana, we can use our hand as a toggle to plug one nostril and then another. Traditionally, it's done with the index finger and middle finger folded back toward the palm. So you have a thumb, and then you have a ring finger with a pinky finger support buddy to do one side of the nostril or the other. Now, if you just want to use your index finger and pointer finger, or pointer finger and thumb, whatever works. But it goes something like this. We're going to plug one nostril, inhale through the other, then reverse the plug to the other nostril, exhale, then inhale, exhale, exhale. I'm going to walk us through 3 rounds. Join me if you'd like. We'll begin by taking a breath in with both nostrils, exhaling both nostrils. Then we'll plug the right nostril, inhale left. Then we'll switch to plug left, exhale right. We'll inhale right. We'll switch to exhale left. Inhale left. Switch, exhale right. Inhale right. Switch, exhale left. Now we'll inhale left. Exhale right. We'll inhale right. We'll exhale left. Then release both sides. Take a breath through both nostrils. And resume your natural breathing rhythm. Take a mental scan. Notice any differences inside. Do things feel more clear, different? As you breathe in, do you feel a lightness to your energy? A lifting sensation anywhere? And as you breathe out, do you feel that grounding of the energy, a heavier sensation anywhere? Let our breathing continue on its normal rhythm. I gently raise my gaze, bring my palms together over my heart, and I bow to you all. Namaste. Thank you for practicing with me this evening. It's always a pleasure. I'm going to